Hi, my name is Luna. For our HIM 244 PI project, I am doing the snow plowing efficientness of Morgantown. My mission statement is to be able to enhance the safety and accessibility of Morgantown roads, sidewalks, and parking lots during the winter by improving the efficientness, consistency, and the communication of the snow plowing services. Ultimately, to be able to ensure that all residents, students, and faculties, as well as visitors, can travel through Morgantown safely and reliably at all times during snowstorms. My vision statements is to, in the future, I hope that this would lessen the amount of snow-related car crashes that happen in Morgantown and to better the conditions of the road overall. In my survey, I asked other students and residents about the snow plowing in Morgantown and what could have been done to fix the roads, in their opinion. The data I received from those surveys were based on who they were and how effectiveness the snow was removed, as well as their time they usually traveled throughout the day and was the snow usually cleared by that time. As a student, I usually converse with other students, so most of my survey takers were mostly 75% students, but I did get about 6% of visitors taking my survey, as well as 18% of residents that are my coworkers that took the surveys for me. Surprisingly, their satisfaction level of the effectiveness of the snow removal in Morgantown were pretty high. About 60% of people rated it a 4 out of 5 of effectiveness. So it's doing pretty well. There are a couple who did get 3 or lower, but there are always room for improvement. For the time of travel, most of them are students or working, so they do travel more in the daytime, around from the time span of 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. is the most prime time for students and workers to go to work. There are a couple 12% of people leaving between 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. and later in from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. But the majority of the survey takers did say that they were leaving and traveling by the time of 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now, based on those travel times, I wanted to ask to see if the snow were cleared by the time they are traveling, and majority of them were yes. For about 62% of them rated a 4 on the clearness. Of course, there is always snow on the road, but usually you can always improve on that. Another question that I did ask was how satisfied were they with the following aspects of snow removal. Now, a lot of them surprisingly were dissatisfied. Not a lot was very dissatisfied, but were either neutral or dissatisfied about these aspects, like road clearing. They could do better. There's also there's ice on the road, so they could do better. There's dissatisfied with that. Majority of them are dissatisfied with it. Sidewalks are a bit iffy because a lot of people do drive if they don't live on campus. So it's about neutral mostly about the sidewalks, and more so the sidewalks than road clearing we're very dissatisfied about. Now the parking lot maintenance, a majority of them were dissatisfied about them. And for the de-ice treatments, you can see that a majority of dissatisfied and very dissatisfied and neutral about the de-icing treatments on the overall roads, sidewalks, and parking lots. Places that need attention the most were mostly suggested was West Run Road and Van Boris Road, which are usually like the back roads, and the snow plowing really don't go there that often. And as there is the general areas of basically on campus, like downtown Evansdale, they're not like, it's harder for them to like plow with students, so it's like a little bit more icy and snowy than other places. The commonly mentioned places was sidewalks in Morgantown. Usually a lot of people do not see that the sidewalks were being cleared. And then people who live off campus, their roads are also hard for people to leave for work or for classes because these off-campus roads are not being cleared at all. From the survey, I got many of different types of recommendations, but the most frequent suggestions were salting and pre-treatments of the snow. I did get a couple saying that they wanted to have more people plowing the snow on Sundays because Morgantown doesn't really do Sundays. And then there's also plowing improvements, as in making sure like the roads are more clear instead of just plowing one way and just leaving the snow there. There's also staffing and resources, getting more plow trucks and more people working on the roads, as well as planning before the snowstorms happen, so you can pre-salt the roads and make sure everything is all ready to go for the snowstorms. My plan of action for improving the snow plowing services in Morgantown is to be able to both evaluate and improve the effectiveness of the snow plowing services in Morgantown and focus more on the enhancing the campus and community accessibility and safety features. First, we would need to start monitoring and preparing for the snowstorms ahead of time, like regularly tracking the weather for snow events to be able to proactively respond to them with pre-treatments like salting and de-icing the roads and sidewalks before the snow begins to accumulate, and to prevent sticking and reducing ice formations on the roads. Next, we would need to ensure that there is enough staff and equipment available, so confirming the personnels and equipments before the snow hits, like during the preparation phase. And we also need to schedule and have a route planning to make sure we're optimizing our plow routes and schedules, mostly prioritizing the high traffic areas and high risk areas on the main road, like such as like the main roads, campus paths, and like intersections, just to make sure we hit everything and no one's like at risk. Next, we would need to have an active snow removal step. So we would just like repeat like plowing and resalting continuously, resalting like right after plowing, and repeat until like the snow area is free of snow and ice, just so we can make sure like there is preventing all issues from arising. Communications with customer encouragement, just like having a feedback system of allowing customers or residents and students to report any unclear snows in the area, just through like a feedback tool, just to have like response where we can spot problems. And then having evaluations and continuous improvements where we gather and analyze the customer's feedback and make sure that we are doing it the best we can, just to give them positive ideas of them being safe, reassuring them basically, and using those data to revise any routes and schedules to make sure everything is efficient and optimize the routes. And then long-term goals would be improving the snowing plow process to lower any snow-related car accidents and injuries, as well as enhancing the roads and campus accessibilities through consistent and efficient snow removal to ensure that all students, faculty, residents, and visitors are able to travel safely and efficiently.